Hey guys, welcome back. It's Shelby and today we are going to try out something new. I'm going to be making a babka. Basically, I've been watching too many reruns of the Great British Bakeoff on Netflix and they made one and now I want to make one. So I found a recipe on Pretty Simple Sweet and I'll link it below. It's for 2 loaves of a chocolate babka. It's got really good reviews, so I'm super excited to make it because I've never made one before. I'm going to be changing it up a little bit. I know I always do that. I start a recipe that I've never done before and then I change the ingredients and then I judge whether or not it turned out based not at all on the original recipe. But instead of a proper chocolate babka that they're doing, I'm gonna be making the 2 loaves and one of them is going to be like a strawberry lemon curd version and the other one's gonna be like Nutella. So hopefully they turn out great, hopefully they turn out beautiful. So I'm gonna grab the ingredients and we're gonna get started. So we're gonna be using the hook attachment. I have my recipe off to the side. It says to start with dumping the flour, sugar, salt, and yeast into the stand mixer with the hook attachment. So we are going to start with that. The recipe I use will be linked down below just in case I don't narrate everything as I do it. So this comes down and we do it on low just to mix it all together. Okay, so the dry ingredients are mixed. Now we are adding 3 large eggs and a half cup of water and then mixing it on medium, and then the butter goes in and then we're putting it in a bowl to rise, but this is basically it for now. So actually, so far, not super hard, which I'm liking. So we are slicing in our butter, letting it mix for 10 minutes and oiling our bowl. Okay, so it said to mix it for 10 minutes until the dough is smooth and shiny, which did not really happen. Honestly, in the last 30 seconds or so, it turned to dough at all. It's off. There we go. I wouldn't necessarily call that smooth and shiny, but I feel like I'm overbeating it. So I'm just gonna transfer it. Like I said, this is not a professional bake job. I said to like flour my hands and use my hands to transfer it, but I feel like if I can just get it with this little scoop thing, that's what I'm gonna do. You already saw me oil the bowl, which is a new one for me, but it makes sense because this is a very sticky dough. It actually came out pretty nicely. There was just that one little piece at the end, but it comes out pretty clean, so it can't be too far off track. I'm just gonna pop that right on top. Doesn't look too bad. I'm pretty excited for this. So I am supposed to cover this in plastic, just like cling wrap. All right, so we will cover that with the plastic wrap. And then it says put it in the fridge for like half a day. I don't have that kind of time, so I'm just gonna leave it on the counter. Other recipes said you could leave it on the counter. This is the only one I saw that you put it in the fridge, so I'm just gonna leave it on the counter and hope for the best for between an hour and 90 minutes, depending on what my schedule's like, and we will move on from there. Also, just as an FYI, this is what it looks like when we are starting the rise. It's pretty far in the bowl. Like it's pretty tiny compared to the bowl. So this is the start. All right, fun fact. This is a regular loaf pan. I used to have a metal one, but I had 2 glass ones. So I was like, I don't need the metal one. Ignore the spots, they're from my dishwasher. So the metal one's gone. And then I accidentally completely shattered one of these when I was washing it and I forgot about that. So I only have 1 loaf pan. I have this tiny little guy that's not gonna work because I'm supposed to split them separately. I have a 9x13 pan, obviously way too big. And the idea is that like maybe I do one and then do the other one later. They have to rise in the pan for like an hour and a half and then cook and then cool and come out and wash it and rinse and repeat. And that is so long, I'm honestly not gonna do it. Okay, I figured it out. This one I just flipped upside down so it's a little bit more of the right shape. I think that's gonna work. I still have no idea how to fix this situation. It's too shallow of a pan, but it's what I have. The recipe says to both grease and line with parchment, which is going to be a saving grace in this because I could just do a little U shape of parchment and it won't slide under this, I think. I considered putting this pan in here because it is, it does fill up the space better than this little guy here. Like I have little pockets here and this one doesn't do that, but it also doesn't sit fully on the bottom and these little side things are even more narrow than they are now. So that's why I didn't do that. But yeah, I'm gonna grease it, put in parchment, and we're gonna see what we can do. Another update. I'm sure you guys are very sick of my pan updates. I have decided to use 2 pans after all. I'm gonna do 1 loaf pan just because I really wanna know if I can like make this and have it work out well. And I feel like I won't get that result with this one at all. So I at least need to know for my own validation that I can do it. So I'm gonna use the right pan for one of them. And then for this one, I'm gonna turn the little one sideways and create a little pocket here and put like foil or something here, just to create a little loaf here and hope for the best that way. All right, I got my foil crumpled up in place, and you know what? That doesn't look half bad. Like that's about the right space as this. Other than the height, not too bad. I'm feeling optimistic again. I'm using Pam, I hope that counts. Basically, I've like sort of given up, but not really. This is my like halfway to doing it properly, halfway to like giving up and feeling bad about myself. And now we will put in the parchment paper, which I will not film because I don't know how to do it. And I will show you the results, but not me fighting with it. You know what? Not half bad. Back to being optimistic. This might work. We're gonna hope it works. Okay, so here we go. I am flouring out my workstation and tipping the dough on top of it, and I'm going to roll it out and separate it into 2 separate kind of areas to work with for my loaves. First one is getting covered with yummy creamy peanut butter, and then after that I'm going in with my Nutella. I'm trying to do a happy blend of a lot of filling and also not overfilling it because I'm not 100% sure how that's going to work out. So I'm spreading it completely to the end of the dough and then rolling it up basically into a long noodle. So once that is rolled up, I'm getting a sharp knife and cutting it just down the center lengthwise until I have 2 kind of broken sections of the noodle. I don't know how to better explain that. Pull them out. They are so stretchy and just really thin and doughy, so I'm hoping it's going to work out. I don't think it's meant to be this stretchy, but just wrapping them over each other one after the other, making that beautiful twist on top, tucking the edges down and putting it into the pan. Then I'm just going to clean up my workspace real quick so that the chocolate and peanut butter doesn't get on the strawberry lemon, and go back in for the second loaf. Basically, I've been at this for a few hours at this point, so I'm trying to get it done pretty quickly. Spreading the lemon curd that I got from Trader Joe's on here. The stuff is so good. I've never made my own, but I can't really imagine it topping this. After that, I'm going to be spreading some sliced strawberries on there. These I had sprinkled with sugar a little bit earlier in the day just to let the juices come out. Also, I ended up using frozen and let them defrost. Probably fresh is better, but I didn't have them. So I used frozen and just sprinkled some sugar on them and let them defrost. Rolling it up, same as I did with the peanut butter Nutella one, and I'm going to do the exact same thing. Cut it down the center and then try to do that fancy little swirl pattern, which is what this spread is known for. This one is going in the kind of cobbled together bake pan. We're going to see how it turns out. All of the strawberries are escaping at the top. I'm also hoping that's not an issue. But these are going into the pan and they need to rise a second time, which is part of the reason that this recipe just takes forever and a day. Finally, they are going into the oven, and while those cook, I am making the syrup from the recipe. They had a few steps involved, but it actually just looks like a simple syrup. So equal parts water and sugar, bring it up to a boil, and then let it kind of come down naturally. That's all you need to do. And then I'm also going to be making a little glaze for my strawberry lemon one, not because it has anything to do with the actual recipe, just because I think it's going to be tasty. So I am mixing some powdered sugar into a little bit of milk, stirring that up and adding enough lemon juice that it is nice and tasty. And that's going to be my glaze for the top of it. Next up, we are checking them. One of them is done, the other is basically soup. So that's going in there longer. So we are supposed to put half of the simple syrup on the bread, and it specifically says that it will look like a lot, and it really does, but to do it anyway. So that's what we're doing. It actually makes it look really lovely and glossy, so that's exciting. And then apparently the bread is going to soak it in so that it doesn't dry out, which is awesome. By the time I'm done doing this, the strawberry lemon one seemed pretty good to go. So I pulled that one out and repeated the same process, covering it with the simple syrup. And even the pan seemed to hold its shape pretty well, so I'm excited about that. And all in all, these are looking pretty good. We're gonna let them cool. So once they cooled down slightly in the pan, I set them out on a baking sheet to dry and basically just tore the paper slightly to pull it out from underneath it. That way I didn't have to handle them too much because they are delicate. Then I added my glaze to the strawberry lemon one. I was really concerned that between this and the fact that it baked super liquidy and the simple syrup and the glaze and everything, that it would be a big soppy mess, but ironically, it was actually kind of dry. Here is a close-up of the beautiful swirls of the peanut butter Nutella one. Oh my God, this was heaven. It was dense and fudgy and decadent and just absolutely incredible and just beautiful inside. I'm really impressed with this one. Next up is the strawberry lemon for review. Also very tasty, and I had already taken a few bites before it occurred to me to film it. This one, like I said, actually turned out slightly dry. All of the moisture and berries concentrated up at the top. But here is how they just kind of turned out before I cut into them. Beautiful, lovely, and honestly so delicious. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye for now.